Hey everybody, what's up? How are you doing? This is the Big Brother social media mogul and YouTube personality, MissCleoBB, and I have the honor and distinction of being joined by America's favorite house guest's mother, who's probably America's favorite mother as well as of right now, the one and only Mama Rance. Say hi. How are you doing?
Good, good. I'm doing good. I was
So,
relaxing this past hour.
weren't we all? Uh, Basically, just so everybody's on the same page, this is a sort of the purpose of this is to talk with Jill and us how a celebration of Zach's experience, who is arguably the most entertaining house guest we had this season and in many seasons perhaps, and he's beloved, and it's just we want to go over kind of put some closure to all this, and I have a lot of questions to ask Jill. We've got a lot to talk about, but this is not a Frankie bash. That'll be later this week by me. No, but I'm kidding. But let's just keep this about Zach. We've had enough of the Frankie show, and this is we're going to talk about all the things that happened in the last week. And finally, before we get to the discussion, rather than go through the past 2 weeks in chronological order, because I think it's kind of boring that way, you've seen me talk about this process with Zach as going through the 5 stages of grief and where I am. You see, so we're going to just go through the 5 stages of grief and ask Jill to kind of talk about each stage and at what point she went through each and what it was like. So without further ado, let's start with the denial phase. I think we can easily skip this one because we've been through this. This was the third time we've been through the emotional roller coaster. Am I right?
Yeah, since week 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, since the first night when he kind of pissed off Frankie, so that's when it started.
Yeah. But I was dressed. I was mourning pretty much that the second time when he was up against Jocasta, uh, and then the miracle happened the night before where he was saved at the 11th hour, and it was such a high. But so by this time last week, I was just, you know what, this is it. We know it's coming. There's no denying it. Let's hope he gets back in through the returning juror comp, but we'll get to that a little later. But I don't think there's any denial going on as of late. So,
Yeah.
next phase, anger. Now this is where we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you feel about a lot of the things that have angered the fans? I'll start with the pink elephant in the room, or the pink-haired elephant in the room, Frankie. He said a lot of ugly personal stuff, and just talk to me. Tell me how you feel about all of that stuff that we saw on the feeds.
Um, I have to tell you that last week was probably the worst week I had ever had. I was I'd be at work and I couldn't concentrate. I got like really teary-eyed a lot. I felt totally helpless as a mom, that there was nothing I could do to help my son. Um, I said words, I just thought that everything that was said was just really vile. Because I'm a Big Brother fan, I know that you have to say certain things and you have to do certain things that, in real life, you wouldn't want somebody to be like. But it went so beyond that this week. I kept on saying, like, what more do they want? He's on the block. They've all decided he's going home. Like, why do you have to now tear him apart in such a vile way? The terminology, I mean, a lot of people on Twitter know, because I've tweeted it out before, words are really important to me. You can't take them back. If you say something to somebody, you can apologize, from here until tomorrow. You can't take it back. the words that they used were horrific, in my opinion. And I'm a tough cookie. I can handle anything. I just thought it went way beyond. And you know what? I made a promise that I wouldn't bash, the house guests. I wouldn't disrespect their families in any way. But they so disrespected my family by talking about Zach that way. This was a kid that showed his emotions to everybody. The people that saw the feeds knew what type of person Zachary was. The people in the house called him a crybaby when he talked about his brother and missing home. You had to, like, tear him apart like that? It was so not necessary. And I called, I did call, production about it. I've never done that. I've never called to complain about anything. I'm a trooper. My kid signed on for this. He knew what it was going to be like to a certain degree. I knew what he signed on for a certain degree, but I was really angry about it. It just wasn't necessary. And you know what? Those type of things that they say showed what's in their core, who they are. I have a really difficult time with that. I really do.
I completely agree. And just a second, I have to...
You have a cup.
Oh. Hold on. God, that's so good! Sorry. Oh, back to what we were saying. What do you think about people who say it's just a game? And try to use that to justify what they say. And I have a real problem when they do use that. They pull that card after the person's been evicted, which has been going on, and because that's back to this, the grief list. That's what's making me real angry right now.
Right. Can I stop? You know what? I have to plug my computer into another outlet because obviously this one's not working, and I don't think it's not charging. Wait one sec.
No problem.
I might have to change my seat. Let's see. No, I think I'm good. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry for that.
No. Yeah, I just I think it's indefensible. I don't like when people rationalize or try to defend sort of hateful things. Just accept it, and it's sort of like as Zach pointed out when Victoria, the whole hat thing. You don't kick a guy when he's down, and this isn't the first time they've done it. Zach isn't the first person people have done this to. It happens. It's very common on Big Brother.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. I don't like it.
Go ahead.
Second thing I'm angry about, Team America.
Yeah.
I think they sabotaged Zach's game. And I will point out that Chris Roach, who is one of the producers of the show, tweeted out a couple of days ago, I'm starting to see that I get the sense that America wishes that Zach were on Team America. You think, you dingus?
I know. I'm proud of Zachary for handling himself in whatever way he handled it. I truly agree with you that Team America sabotaged his game. I mean, Team America was the saboteur this year. That's for sure. They didn't have to pick one person. They picked 3 to do it. And they were really foolish, And unfortunately, look, Zachary's not going to win the $500,000, but you know what? The joke's on all of them because he's going to come out the winner anyway. So
absolutely, absolutely. What do you think about the way that another thing that's add to the anger list about his edit? Because it's not that Zach was edited in a negative way. It's that a lot of what Team America and Frankie and Derek did to him in particular, they kind of portrayed them as sort of like almost victims, like Zach is just too volatile for our game. That's not the reason why they got rid of him. I know what I think. What do you think is the real reason Frankie wanted him gone? And I'll let you go first.
Oh, I'm going to tell you. I think the real reason why he wanted Zach on was because I think Zach was too much of a, personality in the house for. But
Absolutely.
getting back to the edit, I have to tell you that one of the worst things that probably CBS ever did was make the live feeds, because they could have done anything that they wanted on the show, but the fact of the matter is that the people that watch the live feeds knew the truth, and the people that watch the live feeds are growing and growing each and every season. So you know what? CBS looks like the idiot right now because it doesn't make a difference what they put on TV. People watch Zachary 24 hours a day. The show is really just to see the diary rooms and the competitions. That's all the show is good for. Other than that, there is no content there.
I I agree. Well, this is one of the unique things about Big Brother, the show, is that because for all we know, the same sort of thing probably happens on Survivor, Amazing Race, and every other reality show, but we don't know what it is because they just edit it. It happens. They edit it according to how they want. This isn't real time. They don't have that luxury. I personally don't think that CBS anticipated Zach would resonate so well with America, and whereas like Frankie wouldn't. And I think there were, once they realized it, it just was too
It was,
late to do anything.
yeah,
And yeah, he was sabotaged. But
yeah.
it is. God, I'm using a beast mode cowboyism. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it is what. Next thing that angers me, the other house guest, namely Victoria, with the whole hat gate.
I
What do
know.
you think about why, as Zach said, kick someone in the teeth when they're down?
You know what? She's the one person I've never been like, I haven't tried to hold my tongue with her because I just don't care. Or like Zach said, I don't give a, about her. I thought that that was a clear indication of her character. And you know what? I There's nothing redeeming about her in my eyes. Nothing. What she did was she destroyed what she believed made him special, or what she believed
What he
him special.
said, it made him special. Like
Right.
he articulated how important that item was to him.
That was a disgusting display, and the one thing that I'm really happy about is that CBS showed it. That I'm happy about, because you know what? I feel bad for her when she comes out of that house, because she lives in South Florida. You don't think that he's going to have a huge fan base down here in South Florida?
I don't think anybody will even. I still don't think half the audience knows what her name is, to be
I
honest. Uh, I just also couldn't believe, like, there's a jury picking a winner, because I also don't think she knows that she's playing a game. I think she thinks there's a final rose ceremony that she's waiting for. Because to hold up that hat like that,
I know.
it's like this is a jury member.
Yeah.
Like, not that she ever had a chance, honestly, to
Right.
ever win, but still, what a stupid move.
I know.
Anyway, last thing I'll talk about. Oh, let me just stop for 1 second. And I know that people were frustrated with some of Zach's responses when he had his interview with Julie, because like when she asked who he'd target, and he's like, well, I don't know, maybe I'd throw it. If you watch the interview that he did with Jeff,
Mhm.
it's on YouTube, on CBS.com. He totally knows what's up. He knows Derek is the one controlling everything. He hates Victoria and unleashed his. He went elaborated further. He just showed a lot of decorum on the
Right.
CBS live show, but
Right.
he know so make no mistake, he knows exactly what's up. He totally uh, described how he used like that whole Frankie the Zanky. Hold on, was all a game. Is all part of the game. And anyway, so just so you're aware, The last thing to address in the anger category is the jury returning juror competition. It was arguably the most suspenseful, exciting moment of the season. However, it was also a crapshoot. Jocasta almost got back into the game. I repeat, because it bears repeating, Jocasta almost got back into this game.
I know.
Don't you think that there should have been something to people who, if they wanted it bad enough, that's how you determine who gets to go back? What do you say?
Yeah, no, I thought that the competition was one of those competitions that was chosen because they had so much to pack into one episode in 1 hour. They needed something that was fast-paced, that would have an end to it. It was a simple game that was fast, and they can get it out of the way. I didn't think it was great. I also wasn't rooting for Zachary actually to get back into the house. As a game player, I wasn't.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to address that too, because I was both. When he didn't get back in, I was a mixture of sad yet relieved.
Right.
Frustrated yet I could just sort of exhale, because you just know it would just be more of the same if he got back in. And we didn't like seeing the ugliness going on, and I didn't want to see it anymore.
Right. Nothing was going to change.
My theory about the competition is, I had said previously that, based on the math with the schedule, that, that since they usually do 2 double evictions a season, they have to bring back 2 jurors to make it fit. Based on what happened on Thursday, I think that was our second double eviction moment, because that was the nail-biting, exciting thing that what we'd expect in terms of the double evictions, and it was the highest rated episode of the season. So I abandoned my theory about 2 jurors coming back. Ain't gonna happen. And what a shame. What a shame.
I know.
Any other things that you feel angry about in terms of that you want to get out?
No, I really think Zach's going to come home and say that he had an amazing experience. I could be angry all I want about how people treated him, but I'm his mom. I'm supposed to get angry at people that hurt my kids. So, I'm not. I can't really be angry about anything. I think that he had a great experience, good and bad, and I couldn't be prouder. I think he handled himself great. There's not, like, when people hate on him, which are very few on Twitter, but when they do, I laugh about it, because I think everything he does is funny. There's no malice when he does anything, so everything he does is funny to me.
I completely agree. And what's interesting about Zach is the only haters that I see they're not Zach haters. It's more Frankie defenders, and that's kind of how I see it. Because anytime I get a tweet that's hateful, one click on their profile and they've got some ridiculous profile picture with. So we'll leave it at that. How about we move to the next stage, bargaining? This was fascinating to me in the age of social media. What happened this week with #RenomRule?
Yeah.
And when you have Ariana Grande, the brother of the sister of the guy that is the cause of all this, pushing for this. How did you feel? What went through your mind when you saw this?
Well, I had 2 trains of thought. My first reaction was, "Oh my God, this is so exciting." My second reaction was, "Oh my God, this is like a mob." It's almost scary how many people were on board, and to have that trending. I mean,
number one, trending number one for like at
I
least an
feel like,
hour.
yeah,
But it was trending for hours.
yeah,
It was
I know.
and
I just don't understand why they didn't do anything with it. I just don't understand that.
because it would have been bad TV. They would have lost that moment where, I think what they wanted was to go through the letdown of him being evicted, but then the rush of him coming back into the house. It was a risk
Yeah.
that didn't pay off, but that's what they were probably going for. And you know, I well
I think they
look
missed
at
the
them, look at
mark.
them now. Their loss, but
You know what? The bigger reward would have been for Frankie to be sitting there dumbfounded when he finds out that Zachary can't be on the block, and then Zachary hopefully winning the next competition and putting Frankie, doing something with Frankie or Derek or Cody. You know what I mean?
true.
I think that would have been a much better, you know, reward than what happened. But
Yeah, I think production would be given a lot of hell just for not being consistent with the rule because, yeah, but there was a lot of bargaining, that's for sure. And I think, how do you feel about the fans that are still almost trying to bargain with production to bring him back?
look, any type of thing that they're putting out on Twitter or whatever they're doing, will benefit Zachary. I mean, it's just making his popularity grow. So, and he has like the most incredible fans. I'm like in awe of these people that just absolutely love seeing him on TV. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. It's incredible. 118,000 followers on Twitter, and he's got like 3 tweets.
I know.
Uh, uh, I think can we both agree though that it's really just not in the best interest of Zach to go back into the house right now.
Yeah. It's not. It's not. You
It's
know
just
what? He's hanging out with Hayden right now in Jocasta. He's probably playing Xbox, watching movies. He's probably a lot happier right now. He's probably saying, shit, I wish I would have won the 500,000. But when all is said and done, I really don't think he was in there for that. I really don't.
I think he left at the height of the zenith of his popularity,
Right.
and the thirst for him being back in the game will serve him quite well in future seasons when they're looking for someone to bring back, be it all stars or non.
Yeah.
He had the best possible exit, and I mean, let's talk. What did you think about his epic exit from the house?
I mean, I've probably said it. I'm going to have to needle point it on a pillow soon. But he walked out in true Zach fashion, with humor, with class, and looking gorgeous.
Absolutely.
I could not have been prouder of him. I was so happy that he didn't say a word to anybody, that he walked out of there not hugging anybody. Because you know what? It's not goodbye. You don't need to be fake. You don't need to hug people and tell them that you love them. Walk out of the friggin' house to all of those applause. And that's exactly what he did. And, I loved the interview. I thought Julie Chen, my first thing was like, I can't believe he's sitting next to Julie Chen. I mean, it's like I only watch her on television. So I thought it was the greatest thing in the whole world. I have gotten so many people came up to me just telling me, what a class act he is. Joan Grande told me that,
She tweeted that. It was a class act, and he didn't use that opportunity to throw digs at anybody or throw anybody under the bus. So would you like to take some credit for how well mannered he was during his exit?
I think both Kevin and I did a really good job with our kids. He's not perfect, but man, he makes us proud like all the time. I couldn't be prouder of him. And to see, to be in front of, almost 7 million people, being like that. And you know what was so great? He didn't walk out of the house the way he walked in the house. He walked in that house being, you know, what people thought was arrogant and jerky and, you know, just a real douche, you know, I mean, you know, paraphrasing what everybody else was calling him. He walked out a totally different person. He walked out himself. That's Zachary. He's such a good boy. He's got great manners. He has great social skills. He just made us proud. I think it was because we sent him to preschool when he was a year old. He learned manners, you know.
He walked out as if he knew that he had 118,000
Right.
Twitter followers and
Right.
200,000 Instagram followers. He walked out feeling like a winner, as he
Yeah.
was, and
Yeah.
I was proud of him. And it was great. It was really
Yeah.
great. And
It was.
kudos to you, Zach. So let's get to the fourth part, depression. It sounds to me like, you know, were you depressed? How long did it last? When did it stop? Talk to me.
The only time I was depressed was the week before, you know, once he was on the block. That was very depressing. It was, you know, I mean, there was nothing I can do for him. I felt so helpless, you know. As his mom, I'm supposed to be able to, you know, help him solve problems and keep him safe and happy. And, you know, there was nothing I can do. And, you know, I called production. I said to them, you know, I need to know that he's okay. I need to know that mentally and physically and emotionally he's okay. And if he's not, I need somebody to help him, you know. But it didn't last long. Thursday came, and it was the best Thursday. It was the best Thursday.
He handled it better than I think I ever could have. If I were in a house full of people who were all just treating me like that, I would not keep my cool. I
Yeah.
would be much more sad. And he knew what was going on. He saw it for what it was, and he, based on what he said during Jeff's interview, when Caleb basically spilled it accidentally one night, a couple nights before, he knew what was going on, and like you, he felt helpless, but he also recognized there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, one thing about Zachary, he's a fighter and he's very persistent. The fact that he didn't do anything made me believe that it wasn't that important to stay anymore. You know, that he did what he had to do. He, you know, like he said, you know, he won the day he got that key. His entry was much harder than his exit. His entry was against tens of thousands of people trying out, and it was like 5 different rounds or 6 different rounds. I can't even remember how many rounds of interviews and steps he had to take to get in there, but that was harder for him than walking out that house that day. So, you know, I knew that he just didn't, it wasn't necessary for him to stay any longer. He knew that.
Right, I agree. So I think the last stage, acceptance, sounds like you and I are both at that stage.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the fans are too, and you know, now it's turned into, you know, just even more frustration because it looks like Donnie, spoiler alert, is probably going home.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just.
You know, I spoke to Donnie's girlfriend today, and who I absolutely love. She's like so great. I have to tell you, but the first time that I spoke to her, I was like shocked as shit that she doesn't have an accent. So I was really expecting for her to sound like him, but she was great. And she said, you know, that part of her wants him to be evicted on Thursday so that he can relax and he can enjoy being in the jury house with the 3 people, the only 3 people in that house, well, besides Nicole. So 3 of the 4 people that he really liked. And that was Hayden, Zach, and Jocasta, you know?
Well,
And she said, I just want him to relax.
I think they'll be joined by Nicole very soon.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
probably. But what
and
a to be in the jury house, because those guys like each other. You know what I mean?
absolutely, it's yeah, I agree with you. And only one person can win.
Right.
And if it's not in it, if it's not your year, might as well ride it out and
Yeah.
enjoy it with some people that you enjoy being with instead of
Yeah.
a toxic environment. So,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
now that we've gone through that, let's um, go through a couple different things. First of all, you posted an address where fans can send stuff. Okay, how big is this place? Is it a warehouse? Is it a closet? Have you gotten anything yet? Talk to me. Tell me.
Well, it's funny because I was planning on getting him a P.O. box like a few weeks ago. And I've never gotten one before. Everything I'm going through this summer is a first for me. So so I said, well, I want to have a P.O. box for my son, and it's right here in town. And she said, well, I need 2 forms of identification. I said, well, I don't have that. I don't have his license or anything like that. I said, but he needs one. So she said, well, what are the circumstances? And I told her, and I said, you know what? Forget it. He doesn't need fan mail. He'll be fine. And then I said, like, he's going to be evicted, and people are tweeting that they want to send him pink hats. So I have to do something. It's like this tiny,
Oh
and
God. Oh no. Oh no.
well, well, they have bits in the back packages. So I'm going to talk to him when he gets home because I know that people are planning on sending him pink hats. And I want Zachary, and I'm certain that he would agree with me on this, but I want him to utilize those pink hats, in a really good way. It's his signature. I want him to be associated with that all the time. So I have some plans for that when people say, hopefully people will send him pink hats. And
Okay, so that's what I wanted to address. I just wanted on the record. Are you okay with people sending him pink hats? Because I think you're going to get a shit ton of pink hats arriving. I mean, that P.O. box is going to look like a giant flamingo nest.
well, we
To be
are in
honest.
South Florida, so that's okay.
Yeah, well, but it sounds to me like it's not going to go to waste. You
No.
have some sense of a way to put that to use, and
Yeah.
if you do, all for it. And I
Yep.
think the fans are going to be happy that they know
Yes.
how you feel about that.
Yes.
Um, so now that that's covered, uh, now a question just to go back a little bit back to Frankie. Zach has been shown to be incredibly forgiving of Frankie, which I really respect and admire. What do you think when he finds out about what really happened on on the feeds or whatever? Because already videos have been popping up on YouTube. There's a
Right.
great one that was tweeted out yesterday. When he sees that, will he still be as forgiving?
Um, one of the things about Zach is if you're not loyal to him, he doesn't shut you totally out of his life. Um, Zach's a good person, and I don't think I'm certainly, look, there's going to be a period of time when he comes home that he's going to do nothing but, troll Twitter and see everything that's out there, for him. I mean, he's going to have to spend days with the amount of YouTubes that I've saved, for him to watch. But I think that part of him is definitely going to say, you know what, this is a game, and Frankie wants to win $500,000, and he was going to do anything that he could to do it. So I think Zachary's smart enough to realize that you can't build up friendships in the house and have those friendships come in the way of the reason why you got into that house. So, I don't think he's going to be happy with some of the things that Frankie said, but I think that he will, in certain respects, forgive him and move on outside of the house when he can pick and choose how his relationship is actually going to be with Frankie. You know, and I hope that that's the way he handles it. You know, Zach's grandma, on the other hand, when she gets a hold of Zachary, told me under no, you know, there is no way that she is going to let her grandson go anywhere near that person. So, and I kept on saying, okay, well, you know, he lives 1,500 miles away, and she's like, no, he lives in Boca, and Zachary's not driving down there. So, you know what? I want Zachary to kind of, in a way, forgive Frankie, move on. Frankie can open up, and, you know, look, I'm a capitalist, okay? I'm in the financial industry. I love how people make money. I want Zachary to have every opportunity available to him. And if you don't think that Frankie can open up doors for Zachary, whether it's to a restaurant or to the entertainment business, why not take advantage of that?
I agree.
And you know what? I want to meet Frankie. To be honest, I want to meet him because
totally.
I admire people that don't give a crap what people think of. In certain respects, Frankie's very conscious of what people think about him. He wants everybody to love him.
I think he totally gives a crap about how people think about him.
But as a gay person, he is out there, flamboyant, you know, ready to show the world who he is and what he loves and all of that. I admire that. I really do. I want to meet him.
Don't get me started about him and the gay issue.
I know.
Sorry, all you lesbians. I do not endorse what Frankie's opinion is of you. So, anyway, one thing that I thought was really interesting about after the whole Ariana Grande reveal was, you know, Zach's most raw diary room moment was how, aside from not winning, you know, we saw in the feeds how upset and resigned not just him but a lot of the others were about how they have no shot at America's favorite. I think it's without a doubt that Zach either would, you know, it's him or Dottie it would be a Lance. One of the two would get America's favorite, hands down. How do you think he's going to feel when he does find out that three people kind of, because let me preface it with this. I'm not sure that there's going to be an America's Favorite prize this season, because what they did, they kind of did it in reverse, where we picked America's Favorite at the beginning of the season, and with the end result being those three will be walking away with about $25,000 because they were America's team.
Right.
Now, if that is the case, and there is no America's Favorite, and just finding out that these three were selected by a public vote, knowing full well that Frankie is one of them, and that whole thing. How do you think Zach's gonna react to that?
I think that he has 5 weeks of resigning himself to that. That Zachary thinks that he's not going to win fan favorite. He's been sequestered away from what's been going on, you know, in the fandom world. So he really believes that. He has 5 weeks to kind of get himself ready for that. You know what? Zach's a really very down-to-earth, simple person who isn't materialistic, and I mean, obviously, he wants to use Prius. You know, people that go on a show with, I mean, you know, he doesn't care about things. So I think he's resigned himself to it, and he doesn't really care. I really do, which would make me really happy. But I hope he wins fan favorite. I hope he realizes how many people really do love him.
I think. I hope there is a fan favorite. I hope that the three Team America people are ineligible for the fan favorite vote, because it wouldn't be fair to allow people who, you know, enough said. But I think Zach will find out quickly after he leaves that he is, America's favorite. So he don't need no stinking prize or an award. I think the love that he'll get online will show him that that will be worth way more than $25,000. But yeah, yeah. So you brought up about how 5 weeks. So 1 month from today is the finale of the show. You're going to the finale, correct?
Yeah. Whether I haven't heard anything yet. I mean, they keep everybody in the dark. So I haven't heard anything, but I'm going out there to get him.
This is how it works. Every person, every house guest gets one family member that's invited to the finale. I probably sit in the green room, but either way, you will be going to you will be at the studio.
Right.
And the reason I bring this up is because you're going to be the first person that Zach sees out of the house when the show is over. I want to know, what is the first thing you are going to say to him when you see him in a month?
Well, the first thing that I'm going to say, hopefully I'll have my composure when I see him, because I don't want to look like a nut job when I see him, but I want to tell him that he was so wrong every time he thought that I would be disappointed in him. That there was nothing that disappointed me about anything he did in the house. Nothing. So I want to clear that up with him, and then I'm going to tell him that he did a great job, and I don't even know. I just want to hug him. It was so funny. The other day, somebody tweeted out a picture of his feet, and I was like, I miss those feet. Because they were always on like a piece of furniture in the house, So.
Are you going to ask him to? You mentioned previously that his dog had his way with your furniture. I'm sure in the day that follows, you'll be asking for him to reimburse you for that. But
let me tell you something. The moment he walks in the house, he's going to see it.
Maybe you should bring some foam with you. Be like, look, this is what your dog did. Now, after the first moment you see him, let's just imagine the next hour you have with him. What, if anything, are you planning, or do you want to tell him game-wise? Do you want to reveal anything about what happened, or what are your thoughts about that?
No, I'm gonna tell him, like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing all those years while we were watching Big Brother, because obviously he was not learning anything. He went in there like with a plan, but it wasn't a strategy. His plan was to make everybody kind of, like him, for him to be funny, kind of lay back for a little while, and then nothing. Nothing. He had no strategy. So if there was any... I could be disappointed, but the fact of the matter is he got really far with no strategy.
Right.
It was like Seinfeld, a whole show about nothing. That's what Zachary was. It was like a whole show about not having a Big Brother strategy,
Totally.
And he still wound up being so popular, so...
You know what? I think it's for the better that he didn't, because I'm not one of the people that's that the reason why I wish he were still in the house or thinks that he should have gone back in is because I'm defending his gameplay. I don't think he played a good game. Yeah. He was entertaining, and he was charismatic, and he lit up the feeds. He made me want to tune into the feeds and watch him. And that's why we loved him. And I think if he were too his mind into the game, we wouldn't have gotten all those moments. He wouldn't have had those speeches interrupting veto meetings, or so
Or like when they would have these meetings in the HOH room and they would say that they're going to like, target somebody or they're going to plant a seed. And he like would get up and jump off the bed and go, I'm going to tell them. Like how friggin' funny was that? Like he lived in the moment. He lived in every moment, and that was it.
He delivered in those moments, and we love him for that, because we don't have enough of that, and we certainly don't have that now. I mean, look at this week's Team America mission. Producers phoned it in. They're like, you know what? Zach's gone. Bitches, make your own mission up and figure it out yourself. We'll let America decide if you passed or not. Because we've had it.
That is so funny.
It's just, it shows you that Zach, I don't know. I think it goes to show you that when Zach left, everyone checked out. The people coming up with these missions checked out. What else? Is there anything else that you want to tell him? Not game related, but just about life. Just what else you want? What else you're looking forward to and letting him know about?
You mean like what's happened since he's gone?
Well, actually, let me change it. Is there any chance you would bring a camera and record the reaction to you telling him the number of Twitter and Instagram followers he has?
I have to do that because I know that his fans want me to, record, seeing him for the first time, and when he comes home and sees Peyton and his dad. So I would love to do that, but before I even tell him how many people he has, I want to tell him how many I have. Because if he knows that I have 14,000 followers,
wow,
his mind's going to be going. And he's going to think to himself, okay, if Mom has 14,000, how many can I have?
So how about this? What if you printed out your page and printed out his page, handed it in a sealed envelope to him, and just stood back and recorded. So the first page is your profile page with my mom has 14, it's going to go up. She has 14,000 followers, and he slowly, like an onion, peels away, and just the reaction would be epic.
You know what I could do? I could do it like a Big Brother comp, and I can have a board and reveal it, like Mom's Twitter followers, and pull the piece aside. Look who
you know what would be great? Oh, actually, this would be my dream scenario. You do it like a Big Brother tiebreaker question with him and Frankie. And you say, how many followers does Zach have on Twitter? The person with the answer closest to the number without going over wins. Answers, please. Can I see your answers? And then you get Zach's and Frankie's. Zach will, of course, do a low ball.
Right.
Frankie will have to, I don't know what he would do. But just then when you reveal it, jaws on the floor. Steam coming out of Frankie's ears.
I know.
That'd be a true Big Brother style epic moment. So, is there, at the finale, you're going to be able to meet all the other house guests if you prefer. Who are you looking forward to meeting? Who are you going to be trying to avoid running into at all costs?
I want to go over to Donnie, and I want to give him a hug from me, and I want to shake his hand and tell him that he's an amazing human being, and I want him, to thank him for that night that he was in the have-not room with Zachary, and, just comforted Zach, I can't wait to meet him. I really can. He's a wonderful person, and this is really hard because I'm a really sociable person, and I don't want anything that I do to reflect poorly on Zachary. But
You're a
I will.
mother. You're his mother. I think you're going to be get, and this is not going to be on TV. This is this is you as his mom, and I'm not condoning anything. And if you don't
Right.
want to answer, I don't want you to answer. I'm just, I think I'm just asking what a lot of people are probably thinking,
Yeah.
and you're his
Look,
mama.
I've been very honest with people. I really am. There's no reason for me to lie about anything. But there are certain people that if they came up to me because they want to meet me, um, I think I might put my hand up and say, I don't think so. There are a couple of people that, I would like to do that to.
Yeah.
But that's me, the mom, you know?
Understand. And also, just to be fair to the other house guests, they probably might not realize or remember what they did,
Right.
like the moment they get out. So it probably isn't the right time to,
Yeah.
you know,
I just want to
yeah,
enjoy myself. I just want to
absolutely.
revel in Zachary's, summer. That's what I want. I want to share that moment with him because I'm being given the opportunity to share that moment with him.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Uh, and yeah, I'm trying to think. What are your thoughts about, how have you been treated on Twitter? Talk about. I don't think I've ever seen a house guest's mother get literally like. I remember when I first followed you. I
Hmm.
don't. You've gained 14,000 followers,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
What is your What is it like for you? Talk about that. I want to know what it's like for you when you're on
Well,
Twitter.
in the beginning, it was so much fun. Kevin and I had so much fun. It was like dueling cell phones sometimes. It was like we were like, "How many followers do you have?" And it was great. Then it got to be, and the reason why I went on Twitter because I've never been on Twitter before. So I went on Twitter. I think maybe I opened up the account maybe like a day or two before he actually went on the show. And I did that because I wanted to see what this underground world was like. And then I kind of felt that I have an obligation because I put myself out there. I have an obligation to follow through. And so it became exhausting. And but I knew that, every time I hit the retweet button, it brings his name up again and so I did what was necessary. And then people were sending me messages and it was like unbelievable. I'm like thinking to myself, these people like love my kid. I and what's because from the show, I don't think if you watch the show that you get a good sense of who Zachary is at all. But the people that see him on the feeds, like, man, they are just some hardcore fans, and they just when they believe in somebody, they're diehards. And so I just said, what? I'm going to go along for this ride. And I tweeted out funny things when I thought that things sounded great, and I really had to hold my tongue a lot. And it was very tiring to do that. And then you tweeted something out, and I thought I was being funny, and man, did people hate me for that.
Well, can we clarify that you didn't?
Well,
You
Zach
just you
didn't,
just
but
you just favorited it,
I know.
and
Oh,
people get
no, I
morally
actually
out.
responded it to it. I
Oh
responded,
yeah, yeah, okay,
will
yeah,
you,
yeah.
can I adopt you?
And
Which,
yes, you may.
no,
Yes, you may. No, no.
I guess I did it to the wrong tweet.
I Yeah, that I would agree.
Yeah.
Uh, it was probably because the
It
way
was
it looked, I
after,
understand.
and it was after Frankie, was talking so much crap about him and
Right.
everything. So,
But
you know,
it was also, I think, a lot of people who don't realize that we did a show together last month. So it's not like you know, we had an encounter
Right.
already. So I think that's kind of
Yeah,
uh,
that got lost. Yeah.
that got lost in the whole conversation. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's bizarre. Well, no, I mean, it's not bizarre. It's expected
Right.
what happened to you, and I sort of bring this up because today Derek's wife, some douche nozzle, sent her the screen cap. I don't know if you saw it. Of I
I
guess
didn't see the picture.
he was like I hugging Victoria, but got a
Right.
screen cap just at the right angle where it
Right.
almost looked like he was kissing her. Sent
Right.
it to his wife, and she's now like I don't know what the right term is, but locked up,
Right.
off Twitter. Uh, that upsets me,
Yeah.
and I I'm glad that you don't let things bother you in that way. I'm glad that you didn't respond to the attacks that you got from your tweet by um, by caving into a bunch of 12-year-olds, and you know because that would, in my opinion, would show that that
Right.
you're easily intimidated, and then it gives sort of people the impression that, okay, well, if I don't agree with something that she says, I'll just send her hate tweets and
Yeah.
it'll totally work. You can't do that. You have to make it clear that I kind of don't give a crap. If you don't like what I say, don't follow me. Uh, but regardless, uh, yeah, you got one of my favorite things is every morning I know when you wake up because I get a list of things that you retweet that just remind me and reinforce all the Zach love, and
I know.
it's wonderful, and
You know what? Twitter has made my summer. It really has, the good and the bad. I mean, people, this kid. I put out the address for the PO box, and this kid is like, how irresponsible of you to give your home address.
I saw that.
Well, how
I mean,
irresponsible that your parents got you a computer? Okay, really? You think I'm giving out my address?
that was the greatest thing where like you dingus. I was ready for you to call him a dingus. Like, what are you? Like,
Well,
you said I live in a suite. I live in suite 204, 204. You moron. Yeah, that was great. And but you should. I think you've been very fortunate. But as you haven't done anything to deserve any hate, but a lot of people haven't had a great family members have not had such a wonderful experience
right.
this season and in past. So kudos to you for making it work. You did.
Yeah. Thanks.
Tell me, what has been your highest high of this whole summer? I'm gonna try to wrap this up, and get
Um,
let's.
I think I I probably think the highest high. It might sound stupid, but it was like the first time he was trending on Twitter. Like I thought that was like, and when it was trending worldwide, like I'm
Right.
thinking to myself, that's incredible. This is a kid that just plays golf and hangs out at home, and he's trending on Twitter. He didn't discover something. He didn't help needy children. He's just Zach Rance from Florida, but he made a mark in the world. And I realized, I mean, without sounding like I'm patting myself on the back, but
Come on, you're a Jewish mother, Jill. Let it out. Come on. Yeah, no
I'm
one.
Kevin and I, many times when these things happened, we looked at each other and we were like, how did we do this? How did we manage to bring up a kid that just has it all going on and who's so loved by everybody, And Kevin and I, I mean, I said it to Kevin oh, Kevin's here. Come sit down.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you, friendly dingus?
Hey, what's up, you fooligan?
What's happening?
We're just trying to move the dog out of the way.
Yeah.
Um, but Kevin and I looked at each other and we were like, do you believe that's our kid? Like, it's amazing. It really is amazing just to see how far his popularity grew. I mean, we just had Kevin's family in from England. They were here this weekend, and his cousin actually said that they were reading something in the UK, and Zach's name appeared.
Wow.
Just amazing. Just amazing.
You know what's interesting? What is really awesome about Zach? I know you had to have seen it. Was Dr. Will, who is Dr. Will, arguably the most popular person to have ever played Big Brother. I thought tweeted the most incredible thing about Zach.
Yeah.
And it's almost universal in terms of past house guests, the way that they and the fans have all coalesced around Zach, supporting him and appreciating what he brought to this season and to just Big Brother in general, for being just who he is. And that's really special, because a lot of people, there are a lot of Big Brother favorites from the past seasons, but most of them, for all the lovers that they have, they've got a pretty decent amount of people who don't like him. I won't name names, but I think people know who I don't see that. I see that there are people who love Zach, and then there are people who defend Frankie, and that's it. I don't see people who hate Zach. That's very special, and it's how do you think he's gonna? Let's talk just about after, when he comes home. How do you think he's gonna? What? I know you're nervous about what might what to expect. What do you think he's gonna be like?
I really, we've been talking about it, and we said, we're going to have to learn what the new normal is going to be for us. Everybody in the family has been devoted to watching Big Brother. I mean, I can tell you, honestly, his entire family, not his parents, but like my sisters and brother-in-laws and all of his cousins, they're not watching Big Brother anymore. Thursday was the last group text that we had.
I did not watch tonight's episode. I don't know if I plan to. Right now I'm in this sort of stage where I read Twitter to kind of read updates. I see what's going on, and it sort of reinforces my decision not to tune in.
Right.
and I'm not saying that as a drama queen to be like, oh, I give up, I refuse to watch.
No.
I'm legitimately not interested.
But you know what?
Sorry, it tastes, Jill, it tastes so good. It tastes so good. I can't stop drinking it. And and this thing is overflowing. I got a bathtub. I have a bathtub full of it. It's like Prohibition era, and it's like gin. I've just got a whole supply. Anyway.
I don't think Zachary at this point is gonna understand what this is all about. He's really expecting to come back into the house, take his golf clubs, get Peyton, and go off and play golf. And I don't think he truly understands. Look, we don't know what life has in store for him once he gets home. I don't know. I know that there's a small window of opportunity for him to capitalize on this. I don't think it's going to last forever unless he does exactly what's necessary to make this a career somehow, to come up with some way of supporting himself. But nobody knows what life is going to be like for him. But I really think he thinks he's just going to go right back to being Zach Rance.
Well, what was funny is when I was watching his interview with Jeff, I kept on thinking the whole time, Jeff, dude, you're talking to your replacement next to you. I wouldn't be so kind to him, or I'd be a little worried if I were you, because he's got so much. This is a term from RuPaul's Drag Race, where the 4 qualities to win. You need charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. What does that spell? I think we all know. But he's got that. He's that package. And I think I know I've told you this before. You have to calibrate your expectations with the realization that he is property of CBS. That contract is going to, so there is a reason why sometimes people who you think might be able to just go right into a entertainment career don't always get that chance. And I don't think it's because they're not talented or they don't have what it takes. It's because they're still on a leash. And CBS is not going to want to release that. They have gold, and you know it, I know it. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see him making cameos on, one of the CBS soaps. Definitely a future season of Big Brother.
Let me ask a quick question, if I could. What's the value of gold today?
You know what? I hope when Zach just remembers to, before he says yes, he still has the right to negotiate a price.
Right. Yeah.
Because when they go back for like All-Stars or stuff, they get paid. But it is negotiable. And just because you're under contract does not mean you have to do it. It just means it's more about what you can't do with other people that want to profit off you. So just remember, and Mike Boogie is the name. It's no secret that he got paid more when he came back for season 14 than some of the others did. But that's because he's an entrepreneur, and Zach has to know his value. I mean, we can't get carried away. I'm not an expert at this.
Right.
You obviously have to talk to someone who is. But Zach will when he will get opportunities, it's up to him to negotiate, and just bear it in mind.
Well, hopefully that degree that he got from UF in economics will have prepared him a little bit. So I always told him, no matter what you do in life, whether you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, whatever, if you're just a business owner, you need to know business. You have to have a business head about you, because if you don't, people are going to take advantage of you and you'll wind up with nothing. So hopefully those years that he spent at that school will, prove valuable one day.
Just remember, CBS sees him as they see dollar signs.
Yeah.
It ain't business. It's not personal. It's all just business.
Right.
And I think I think he'll be savvy enough to recognize that. I think the most important thing and exciting thing is that we know that we can look forward to more of Zach. Yeah. That's, I think, what the most important thing is that we all want more Zach, and we shall receive.
As Miss Latoya Jackson tweeted, she said she hates to see you go, but we know we haven't seen the end of you.
Yeah. Yep.
Very true. Papa Rance, do you have any thoughts, anything that you want to tell us about, anything that you want to get off your chest, let people know that's in more than 140 characters?
I mean, I'm absolutely stunned by the love and support that everybody's shown to Zach. It's just he said to me the night before he left, and we've discussed this before. He said to me, "Dad, my life's going to change forever after tonight." And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, whatever you say, kid. You go in there, you're gonna be on there for 5 minutes. You're gonna get kicked off the first week. That's gonna be the end of it. Don't get your hopes up. And then this happens. It's just been phenomenal. At this point in time, all I want to do now is just get him home, take him and his brother out in the golf cart, out on the golf course, and just spend some time with him away from all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling on it. I mean, I think he's gonna need to take a couple of weeks where just to take it all in, take a deep breath, decompress. And I mean, one of my biggest concerns is like Jill said, is he's been in a house with those people now for the last 3 months. He hasn't had any outside contact. The last thing I want is a 23-year-old frat boy running around Los Angeles by himself.
Amen.
You know?
Amen. As someone who lives in LA, I don't want, like, yeah.
I know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and I think it's so funny because he thinks he's coming home on an airplane with Victoria.
Well, just to follow up with you, Kevin, when you say you're surprised, why are you really surprised? I mean,
oh yeah.
But what is it that surprises you about it? Because how could he not get that sort of reaction? Or is it just the volume of
the volume, and I mean, we always knew he stood out, okay? And even amongst his friends, he was always the one that everybody gravitated to. He's always been a leader, not a follower, if you will. I mean, when he was young, he never used to wear the same colored pair of socks. He'd wear a green sock and a red sock. He'd wear a black sock and a blue sock. And that was his thing. Even when he was young, that was his thing. And I said to him, I said, well, why don't you wear the same colored pair of socks? And he said, well, why? You don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to wear the same color. And we have pictures of him in preschool and first grade with a yellow sock and a blue sock, with a green sock and a red sock. And so he's always been a little bit different. I mean, I knew he was going to be good, but I didn't know he was going to be that good. That
is an incredible story. That's awesome.
Let me tell you something. As the mother, having a kid wearing 2 different socks made laundry really easy. I never had to match anything up. I just threw all the socks in a drawer. So.
Are you proud of how? Because I don't know how. It almost seems like it was written by a PR person. It was so perfect the way he handled it, about how he sort of just so easily dismissed about, like, I am heterosexual. There's no. Yeah, I would have thought that there had been a ton more talk about, oh, he's totally gay or he's bi or not. No, it seems to either people just don't care or they just believe it.
I think that there are certain people on Twitter that wanted a showmance.
Right.
And
number one is Julie Chen.
But, and to be honest with you, I'd love to see that on TV. I would, But his reaction just proves that he just doesn't care what people think. He doesn't care. If you're his friend, you're his friend. What difference does it make? You know what I mean?
I loved it. I love it because it just it sends such a great message, I think, to our age group that, look, it's not such a big fucking deal.
Right. Right.
Someone like a guy kissed my neck.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Right. Right.
So look, did he turn him gay? No. You see, folks, the gay is not contagious. You're not gonna catch the gay from me if I touch you. I mean, because that I think is a real issue where, like, people think, oh, being gay is a choice, so you're gonna I don't want my kid to be converted.
Right.
I think if you could go through that and walk out the house and not be gay, I think it's more than enough proof that you're not going to catch the gay.
Yeah, it's not touching.
Right. I know.
Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, you know what? You've been great. I just love everybody that.
I just want to hug my boy and tell him how proud we are of him. That's all I want to do.
I think we all do. I think he's going to have. It's going to take him a couple of weeks just to read all of the tweets to him.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to get not just a lot of pink cats, but a lot of fan mail because the support for him is overwhelming. I get when I look at my notifications, I have 75 Zach Rances that are retweeting your face.
Right.
Which verify him, people, verify him, because I mean I've never seen such a thing before. I've never seen such a thing. But I think we can all go.
You know what's going to change when he gets home? His name, because his name is not Z-A-C-H. His name is Z-A-C-K. So that's going to change when he gets home.
Well, it'll be perfect for Zach Attack, right?
Yeah, right. Right. You're right.
Thank you. It has been such an honor and a pleasure to get to know you both this season, especially as with him out of the house. It's kind of a way that you're inviting us into the Rance house to let us touch base with you and talk to the people who know him best. We love you. I love you. I have so much respect and admiration for you, for Zach, for what he brought to the season, and I can't thank you enough for talking with me tonight. Can we close out with a gator chomp from you guys?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm wearing my gator shirt.
Show us. Tell us your Twitter name, like where we can find you on Twitter, and then end it with a gator chomp.
Okay. I'm KJZP Jill. Kevin is Zach R BB16 Dad. Peyton is Pizzle Rancy. Tiger the dog is Tiger Rancy. And his cousin Lindsay is Lindsay Shearer. And his fan page is Zach R BB16. So those were all the people and then he's got like aunts and cousins and all of that in England. So you can find them all on my Twitter too.
Turn it up!
Oh.
Thank you so much, everybody tuning in. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you on Twitter, you Fruit Loop dinguses. If I had Fruit Loops with me, I'd be throwing them at the camera. and all the Zanky shippers, I'm thirsty.
Right.
So keep on filling this cup, baby. Keep on filling it up.
Yeah.
Everybody have a wonderful night, and we will see you on Twitter. Follow me, MissCleoBB. And